and whiskey.
What is up? What is up? What is up? We
Hey
are
now.
live on here, so we'll give a few minutes here for people to start coming on, and then we'll get into it.
Sweet.
We we throw the videos up later. So tonight we have, as always, my partner Jay Blizzy, and we have James Fagen of House and Gardens Nutrients to talk about, just the counterculture, their product line, and just whatever else we get into as we're bullshitting here tonight, So, James, thank you for coming, man. Appreciate it. We know you guys are busy as all hell with, with running a brand and stuff. So, anytime is always much appreciated by us in the community.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having us on, and thank you both for your support, Jay, and you're about to experience the House and Garden line yourself here. So I'm excited for you too. Here to help you guys get things dialed in as you start that new regiment in your grow. So
yeah, I'm actually. Excuse me. I've been, like we've discussed. I've been I use a lot of the amendments, the aminos, the accelerator, et cetera, and I've never really gotten into the full meat and potatoes of the line. So as you sent me everything, and I actually have just transplanted in. So I actually just gave him the first feeding of the A and B, and everything else, all the stuff that comes along with it. But so far they're happy, So we'll see how everything goes, but I'm liking it, as far as the ease of it, not a lot of product you got to dump in, which is always, that's always a savior, because some of these products out there, they want you to slap in 60, 70, 80 milliliters, and you're like, man, where did it all go? Like, it's just money constantly, man. You know what I mean? So I'm digging the
concentration,
the minutia of it,
Yeah, no, it's super concentrated line. I mean, we've got parts where you use as little as 0.4 milliliters per gallon. I'm talking about drip clean there. We got a range of bases. We look at the medium that you're growing in. That's one thing that kind of separates us from some of the other competitors is we've got a soil base for the soil grower. We got a cocoa base for the cocoa growers. You see there with Jay. We got Aquaflakes and Hydro. Those are going to be for your hydroponic growers. Now, the guys that are recirculating, they're using the Aquaflakes. The guys that are draining to waste, they're using the Hydro A and B. And that's really your base nutrients. So we're specific to the medium. You've got 2 parts rather than 4. So you see a lot of companies that they'll have a 4-part base where it's
I'm not big on that, bro.
Grow, A-B bloom.
I never understood that 4-part base thing, dude. You know what I mean?
And it's all about skewing, your nitrogen levels for veg and your phosphorus and potassium levels for flower. So those base nutrients, they're specific to the stage, whereas we are just specific to the medium that you're growing in. You're going to use our base at equal parts all the way through, and we start you off at a low dosage, and each week as your plant gets a little bigger, you can feed it just a bit more. And the reason that works is because we put our nitrogen on the side. So the AB, it's really like a bloom base. But we have nitrogen boost off to the side. So if you're vegging for longer than 2 or 3 weeks, like say your mother plants, they're going to need more nitrogen. But what's great about it is that you can fine tune like your agenda to drop nitrogen out whenever you want. So if you've got a variety that goes, 10, 11, 12 weeks, a sativa, then you could run nitrogen boost into that 2nd, 3rd, even 4th week of flower before dropping it out. And that'll kind of keep things from prematurely yellowing out on you. So but yeah, the nitrogen, it's something that a lot of people don't use. And unless you're vegging for a long period or you got moms, that's one that a lot of people go without. So, the A and B, you're going to rock it all the way through, specific to the base. And then the additives, that's kind of your icing on the cake there. Those are going to bring the quality.
Yeah, dude. Like, a lot of people always say, I grow good bud. I don't give a fuck. I say it. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, a lot of people are always hesitant to say, because they don't look like an asshole. Me, I grow some fucking good bud. And touching all those bases is where, you know, that magic comes from, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, you can just fuck water only and I'll grow. Bullshit. You know, it's just everything that, you know, all those extra little fucking nuances that bring out that magic. You know what I mean? When you just soil only. I don't care what, you know, I've grown soil only, just water, you know, and I've grown it with, you know, the aminos, vitamin B, you know, and the bud is superior in every single way when you address all those little things. You know what I mean? So lines that come out and they're like, oh, it's a 5-part. It's the gear, you know. Do you have where's this? Where's that? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it'll grow some good bud, but take those next steps and see where the fuck you end up at. You know what I mean? Because there's only some ways you can only unlock those locks with certain keys. And if you're not putting those fucking keys in, you're not unlocking it. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, you know? I mean, you can grow great flower with just base nutrient, but when it comes to, like, if you've got a connoisseur market that you're trying to offload on, you know, they're gonna want something that sticks to the wall. And that's what House and Garden additives are really going to bring to any nutrient line that you're using. You know, you can use our Roots Accelerator for any nutrient line. You know, and the same goes with the enzyme products, Multi-Zen for veg, Bud XL for flower. You can incorporate these. Yep, yes, sir. So we've seen a lot of people, like in my area specifically, that are coming on to House and Garden, and they're using cheap salts, but they're you know, they're trying to differentiate from other commercial growers because, you know, their flavor profile is similar. So we've got a lot of people that are starting to incorporate our additives to kind of give them a leg up and make the pounds move a bit faster.
Yep, dude, I 100%. I mean, everything. Go ahead, Jay.
So I've been as we talked earlier, I was put onto House and Garden by my Stockton buddy Minnie in 2018, and I've been exclusively House and Garden right here, Coco's, for the entirety. And so how I run things, I am exclusively 1 gallon Coco, mothers, flower, veg, everything's done in 1 gallon, obviously, because I breed. And
a breeder, everybody, a breeder using, you know, everybody think, oh, breeders use cheap shit to grow their stuff with. You know, that comes out in the progeny, man. So using good material to grow a superior plant, the progeny is going to be superior in all its way too, because you're unlocking all that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, if you're a breeder and you're already not seeing the potential of everything that you're trying to gather in your lineage, then you're not really picking the best characteristics. But with House and Garden, like even just the base nutrients, if I'm feeling lazy one day, I could just do the base for the whole week and then have absolutely no problems. I can keep mothers. It's super simple, but it's the highest quality stuff that I've used. Like my buddy said, he's like, bro, like you're not even gonna look back. And I'm like, man, I can't believe I was even growing that shit before.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, how bad is the price on the base nutrient? I mean, it's inexpensive.
It's not. I can pick up an A and B.
Change, you know what I mean?
Pick up 2 bottles for $32.
$16 a bottle. You know, your store's making a little bit of money there. We're all staying in business.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, not expensive at all, like everyone thinks.
Bro, people are crazy when they think that, you know, I mean, there's cheap products that work well. There's super expensive products that work well, but they work well. It's not like they're just like, you know what I mean? Like they work like that, you know, like that's the thing. It's like, sometimes you just got to kind of balance it out. Like, you know, when your final outcome, it's like, you know, like if you're somebody who sells reefer, you know, at the end, a $200 ounce or a fucking $10 ounce is the way I look at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when it comes down to it, dude, you know, like, you know, and that's with biomass or anything, you know what I mean? Like the better the bud, the more money you could charge for it, like in the long run, that's the main goal with anybody, clones, you know, anything any part of it's just that bringing out that genetic, you know, potential, you know?
Totally. Yeah. And, you know, it's really important for people too. Like, you know, they say know thyself, but it's also to know your clientele, because it's like some people are going to be a one-hit quit where, you know, they don't need the best cannabis to get them where they want to go. House and Garden caters more to that connoisseur end. You know, the people that they're actually gonna smoke the joint down to the crutch.
That leads me into my first question for you right there. All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. So if House and Garden's nutrients were a music genre, what music genre would they be?
Oh man, rock and roll, dude. It's been
heavy metal, right?
yeah, man. We like to rock it, and you see that in the last 3 to 4 weeks of flower. I tell people, you know, our line is not a front load nutrient line. You don't start blasting PK at the very beginning. We ease the plant through every stage of growth. So we see an early flower, a mid flower, a late flower, and we address all of those and check all those boxes as we go. That way we don't skip steps and miss out on end quality. You know, we're all about unleashing the genetic potential, rocking and rolling. So I'd say rock and roll all the way. We've got big rocky buds at the end with good quality as far as the your terpene content, your cannabinoid content. We got some of the best testing stuff in the industry.
I can't wait because, like I said, I've been using the amendments for years, you know, and I'm stoked to put it all together finally. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
So
yeah, and we're here to help you dial it in, like I said in the beginning, and that goes for anyone that we get on our line. Like if you hit us up and we send you out some stuff to try out, we're gonna help you to the finish. You know, we want to make sure you crush.
These are the dudes that are talking to you on IG. Like when you hit up IG and you're like, "Yo, I got a problem with my shit," like he's answering you, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's 100%. Not like you're just getting some, you know, a fucking call center in Bangladesh. You know?
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, you're getting people, you know,
and
guys that know their shit, you know, that's so important, man, you know.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, in addition to reaching out via social media, you can hit our hotline. It's 707-840-0999. You'll talk to one of 3 growers that work here at House and Garden. All of us have been using the line near a decade or more.
Tell me the number again. I'm going to type it into the comments.
It's going to be 707-840-0999. And again, that's going to be run by one of 3 people. So we switch every month. This month, it's Ward Patterson. He's based out of Humboldt County, California, and he services the entire northern end of the United States. Next month, it's going to be Casey Steins. He's an East Coast guy up in Maine.
Casey's dude. Yeah, Casey's the man. Dude, man. Casey's the man. Casey's such good people, bro. He's got such a good fucking heart, man. He's a good guy.
And he's got the dream job as far as I'm concerned. Bro. The guy's going to Thailand, dude, all of the coolest places.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Hydra Farm to fucking let me do that shit for roots for years, bro.
For real. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'll go to South Africa, China. I don't give a shit. You can send me to North Korea, bro. I'm good.
That international territory is something that I'm a little bit jealous
Kim Jong-un right the fuck out, bro. Just bring some nice, you know, bring some nice smoke over there.
Yeah.
You won't be wanting to lob missiles no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, our stuff is available now in over 27 countries. So, you know, you'll find good flower in places that use House and Garden. And it's kind of cool because when you link up with another grower that runs House, there's this almost like a bond, you know, you're in the same family. There's a common appreciation for cannabis and really unleashing that genetic potential.
Also being able to pick people's brains that run similar shit, man. There's nothing worse than like when you get like where you run into something and you're like, man, and you're just beating your brain, and it's usually that something that you're just so stupid, but you get somebody else who's running the line, you're like, yo, let me bounce this off you for a second. You know what I mean? You've been running it for a minute, you know, like, what do you think? You know, and pop, you're like, man, knock that down. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that's the best shit about like with that kind of stuff. It's like as gay as it sounds, it's like a brotherhood, bro. You know what I mean? Like you know, it's like you can always count on a stoner, dude, when it comes down to it, like as far as for, you know, that piece of advice on the run or blah blah blah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I get you, dude.
No, it's a good family to be in, and you know, we're all out here supporting each other. We got, you know, guys like Soulfire Genetics that are including us in their Discord and helping people like grow amazing pots. So,
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
we've got, everybody's pretty cool. We all want to see each other succeed, and we all want, better weed to smoke and to
That's what it
trade
comes
with our
down to, man.
friends.
That's what it comes down to, bro. So,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right. So, here's my second question about this one. What's as far as like something that actually blew your mind from like a customer review or something, like where a guy was like, "Listen, I had fucking 1 pound colas or something." What was like the wildest testimony that you've seen, like where you were like, "Damn, this shit really did this"?
Man, we have seen crazy numbers, like people talking about hitting like 5 pounds a light, and that's really cool.
Yeah, hell
Oftentimes
yeah.
it comes down to, I would say number one, genetics, number two, environment, number three is your inputs, and that would include your labor. So the more time you spend with your plants, the more love that each one gets, the better your outcome is ultimately going to be. So those would be my three most important there, and inputs also would include your nutrients, your medium. If you provide them quality product, then they will yield you with quality yields, and but genetics, when it comes to 5 pounds of light, that's oftentimes a genetic thing,
That has
and
a lot to
and
do with it. Hell yeah.
yeah,
100%.
and that's cool,
But you
especially
got to
if
be able
it's
to drive
something
the
that
plants too with a
smokes.
good product too. You know.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, like, I don't have you guys heard of it's called crop dilution?
I've heard it, and I
Yeah.
haven't really
So
gotten into it much.
so
But if you want
crop
to,
dilution is a good example, is like a zucchini. If you ever grown a squash, these things, about a foot long, they probably taste the best.
oh, all
And
right, yeah, I got
yeah,
you. So
you get
growing the
Yeah.
flavor out of it,
versus, like, you can grow a squash to be huge.
yeah, but it
and,
tastes like
and
shit.
yeah, it doesn't
You know what
taste
I
as
mean?
good, but also what they found is the nutritional value in a
Fuck.
single serving is diluted. So,
Hmm.
when you start hitting these numbers like 5+ pounds of light, you can almost count on your cannabinoids being diluted across the crop. So,
Yeah,
if you're in a state where you need to score 30% testers, like, I kind of doubt that 5 pound of light strain is putting off the numbers that you
yeah,
need
I
to
get
sell
you. I
your
get you.
flower.
The growth rate's so accelerated, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't have time to stack up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like almost.
it spreads the nutritional value. It
Yeah,
spreads
yeah,
all
yeah.
your cannabinoids. So, I mean, you end up with a lower testing product. You might have more weight. But for me, it's all about flavor. Like, I like a good OG that'll fucking kick you in the ass.
Yeah.
But I also like to smoke a joint more than halfway through. I like to get down to the crutch, or even put it out, light it again, just to see if it tastes like it did when I first lit it. And with House and Garden, I find that 9 times out of 10.
And then that flavor profile. When you're talking about flavors, that kind of brings up another topic that I want to bring up, because obviously the lifelong battle between soil and cocoa and salts is, living soil is always going to taste better terps, this and that. And I can kind of attest to, having done both, just like most people. I don't see a lack of terpenes or flavors or anything in that nature with using at least this line. But
Yeah.
what
Well, I
so
mean, we're
what would you say is in like House and Garden is like, obviously for me it's not lacking that. Is
yeah.
that's just all a bunch of hoopla?
I would say there's two ways to grow, right? Or, I mean, three technically, but people will either go organic or they'll go synthetic, right? We like to call ours natural and organic. So we have the best of both worlds. We're using a mineral base to make sure that all your NPK values are met, that the plant has everything that it needs. And then we use organics in there to enhance flavor. So a lot of people miss out on that when they go fully synthetic, and they're running things like hypochlorous acid, which kills bacteria and enzymes, and they're missing out on that part and what they can contribute to your end flavor. Versus organic guys can sometimes miss out on yield. So when you have something that has a balance of organics and natural elements or minerals, then you will be able to check all the boxes and get both yield and flavor.
Yeah.
So I would say
Mhm.
that's really the game, is it's balance.
No, yeah, because they all like, oh, fucking, like people will talk about not gonna say the name, starts with an A, like, oh, weed tastes like cardboard.
Yeah.
I've never
I'll say
had
it.
cardboard terps from
Yeah.
House and Garden.
It's a what?
Yeah.
It's
And I mean, we've even got those guys picking
it's
up
whatever.
Bud XL now to try and lose some of that cardboard flavor.
I like
Bro,
I
I
would
mean,
have went Bud XL.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bud XL is good. I see a difference with it.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, that one's unlike any other product on the market.
Yeah, hell yeah. Victor, yeah, it does include a chart. It has
Yeah, it comes to the start with every.
comes with two actually different, a 10-week feed chart and the 8-week feed chart, one on each side.
And there's actually a House and Garden app with the chart on it.
Yeah,
Totally.
It actually has an app where you can put in, like, if you want to run it down, like a little bit like say in the beginning where you're only using maybe a quart or something like that, it'll help you convert that down so you can just use minutia instead, which is always great, dude.
Little nutrient calculator.
So
I gotta say, like, I think I've converted, like, now over the past I don't know, I'd say since 2015, I've had to have converted at least 60 growers onto House and Garden now. Not one complaint.
Oh yeah.
So so here's the question for you. Like, a lot of growers in the community, we wind up with nicknames. Lizzie, Big Red, or fucking Skunkle Dave. What's your you got a nickname in the community, dude?
My middle name is Ernest. So I've had a couple people call me Big Ern.
Big Ernie McCracken.
Big Ern.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I stand about 5'7", so there's really nothing big about me. But
Hey, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
That's
Cheers.
funny, dude. All right, so here we go. So how does House and Garden tailor its nutrient line specifically to meet demands of cannabis physiology in flowering in particular?
In flowering in particular, again, like our base nutrient, it lacks nitrogen. So the AB, you could use that as a flowering base nutrient, equal parts, again, increasing your dosage each week as the plant gets bigger until you about level off when you start hitting your PK and then start diving down. Now, the PK, that's where you're going to see the magic happen. So like I said earlier, it's not a front load nutrient line. We're not going to skip steps and start slamming PK down their throat in week 1. We actually wait, and we're going to hit in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. If you count the top booster, we're going to hit our PK additives. And that's going to really prime that plant for excellent yield and terpene and cannabinoid production. So
that's why I was just gonna actually say that I was gonna be like, yeah, that's just, you're lining it up for all those secondaries. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
you just literally,
yeah.
I
mean, the base nutrient, again, lacking nitrogen. So the first few weeks of using the base, you're not hitting with any nitrogen. It's mostly phosphorus and potassium. You're feeding the plants there. And then when you get into the week of using top booster, that kind of helps to transition the plant in from mid flower into late flower, and then from there you go in with like our shooting powder or the liquid version of that same product, which is the top shooter. You could use either one, shooting powder, top shooter, just never both at the same time. And that's really what's going to prime your plant for like excellent flowering there. In addition, the Bud XL. So the Bud XL is going to be the enzyme that you're going to run during this time. Now, I like to call it a transfer enzyme, because what it does is it helps to transfer sugars from your leaves to your flower sites, giving you a better flavor, aroma, and a bigger flower. And what I like about this product versus others is it's never going to force flavor. So if you're growing 20 different strains, they're not all going to come out tasting with a hint of berry or grape. You're going to get what you paid your breeder for. So Bud XL, it really helps to bring out the flavor, but then it also provides vitamins needed to deal with the heavy loads of phosphorus and potassium at the end of your flower cycle.
Yeah. I just actually I'm writing a book, and that's some of the shit that I was getting into, like just starting to get into, was all that about how the vitamins start balance out, you know, and whatnot, and help with the load and stuff. It's actually I've been doing it for a long time. This thing, I actually punched the whole book into AI, and then compared it to the Cannabis Bible.
Yeah,
and it's like it literally, just one of my chapters is equal to the entire Cannabis Bible.
Damn,
just one chapter alone. And literally, it's the only thing that the thing kept saying was it's literally redefining cannabis fucking texts with this, how good it's coming out. Like, it's fucking insane. It's like 6.5 million words now.
Damn.
Yeah, bro, it's beast. Bro, it covers fucking everything, dude. Like, if this thing doesn't get published, then it's just bullshit, dude. Like, it's redefining the whole cannabis book thing. Like, it's every book combined. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stand it, because, and the other thing too is, like, a lot of the books and stuff, it's like anecdotal. It doesn't cover shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually, it's like I'm writing it like it's me talking to you. Like, I'm in there writing jokes and fucking around. You know what I mean? And like describing stuff proper so people can understand it instead of just wonk wonk wonk. You know? Even when you're reading it, some of that shit's just Charlie Brown's Teacher. You don't even, you're like, this is so, you know, it's the worst, bro. You know, for real. So.
Well, I hope you highlight us in there.
I got I've actually been using your Roots, Photobio, Phantom, the whole hydroform thing is my, you know, when I'm doing anecdotal or describing, you know, processes and whatnot, I'll throw like Oregonism XL in there, or, you know, the aminos, or just, and kind of break it down a little bit into it and see how it meshes in. Because if people, I look at it like this, a lot of the people that are going to end up reading it, if I don't publish it, are going to be people that I've, you know, that have known me through this. And the products I use, I'm not going to talk about, you know, Athena's garbage. You know what I mean? Like, you know, what have they done for me? You know what I mean? So, you know, and the shit sucks. So, you know, but it's like, you know, it's like, what am I going to do about it? You know? So, so here we go.
You know, you said it, not me.
I
ran a hydroponics store for.
That's why I'm able to say
it. I refrained earlier, but there you go. It's out the bag.
Yeah. I mean, what I will say is, like, you know, that they have a place in the market.
They have their place, exactly.
And,
they have their place.
If,
you know what I mean?
If growing commercial quality is what you desire, and that's what people are paying for in your area, then great. You know, you can save some money, you can grow some commercial quality, but that's not what House and Garden is for. Like, House and Garden is for connoisseur quality. This is for people, you know, that want to push the genetic to its fullest potential. They want to stick the weed to the wall and see it there the next day.
Yep. Hell yeah. Dude, I want my shit sticking. Like, when I'll start to roll a joint and, like, just take the paper and barely fold it over, and then take the weed out, and it's the shape of the joint with barely any pressure. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want, bro. I hate it when you go to roll it and you're like, you know, you're a little cough, and it's the whole thing's gone. You know?
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
So, all right. So here we go. So, I'm going to get into a little bit of the company thing, you know, and whatnot. So, how does the team at House and Gardens approach, like, R&D when formulating products and, or, you know, or focus, or hold on, let me say it again. How does the team at House and Garden approach R&D when formulating products? Are you focused on emerging science, grower feedback, or plant response trials, or a combination of everything?
I would say a combination of everything. I mean, House and Garden is not a new nutrient line, especially the liquids. You know, they were developed in Holland in 1990, and they've been winning cannabis cups ever since. So they did a butt ton of research back then, and were able to formulate specifically to the cannabis plant. So they tore apart the science there. They figured out exactly what was needed, and then they ran those trial runs to make sure that the product was on point before it was released. Now we're working to do the same thing with any new products that we roll out on the market. Now, we haven't done a new product release in a while. We did a powder release a little while ago, and to be honest with you, we feel like our liquid line produced such amazing results. that we were kind of hesitant to jump on the salt wagon, putting
Yeah,
salt
yeah.
to game. But because people demand that nowadays, especially large commercial growers that don't want to ship liquids, we have dove into that, and we do have a 3-part salt, a CalMag, a Grow, a Bloom, and they produce a great product. And we've done our own trials. I'm currently doing my first trial since I've come back to the company, but so far so good. It's very soluble. But I would expect that you get a bit more out of the liquid line than you would out of the salt line. When it comes to running salts, you're cutting costs, and typically because it's easier, because it's cheaper. I don't know that always means that it's better.
Well,
But
here's a question with that in mind right there. What do you think about when people say shit like, "Oh, well, fucking liquids, you're paying for water"? What do you say about that?
I mean, there's definitely water in those nutrients. So I mean, you can't deny.
But I mean,
However,
like, no, I'm going more along the lines where people are like, you're basically paying for water. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, you know how that goes. Oh well, I get 57 pounds of this shit for $1.99.
yeah. Well,
And
I
it's
mean,
like,
everything that's in our line is not available in a powdered form.
yeah,
There,
there you go.
we have many powdered forms, like shooting powder. We've got
Rhizophore.
Rhizoforce is a granular, and we have
Dude.
the commercial line. But when it comes to our liquid line, it's like, yeah, there's some water in there,
Of
but
course,
there's
there has to
also a
be. I
lot
mean,
more
you know
going
what I
on.
mean? Like, there has to be some water in it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's like, but I mean, when you think about it, if you take a giant batch of water and boil it off, or like, let's say, like with Marsala wine, you start with 10 gallons of it, you boil it down, and next thing you know, you got a banging, salad dressing because it concentrates out. You know what I mean? Like, people don't think about that kind of shit when they talk about, when they badmouth nutrient companies as far as, potency and stuff. Oh, it's water. Well,
yeah.
that water's got some punch. That's why you only need this much of it in liquid to
Yeah,
you know what I
Who
mean?
the hell
absolutely.
even says that?
I
Yeah,
can't stand when I hear that shit, bro. It drives me bonkers. I'm like, wait,
That's a dumbass comment.
yeah, no doubt. And you'll see it with our nutrient line again, with the dosage the way they are. It's very
yeah, it's
concentrated.
nice.
There's a lot more than just water in there.
Yeah. So here's a question I got for you. So like when we talk about the company's connection to the Dutch horticultural tradition and how that legacy still influences product design today by other companies, do you see a lot of stuff where people kind of are, I guess, developing based upon you or anything like that? Have you noticed any of that in the going around?
As far as like developing their stuff based on our stuff, you
Yeah,
mean?
like like what I mean, like because like the influence on it, because a lot of times you get a popular product and people try to kind of either mimic it or blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
I
Do you
mean,
see a lot of that
there's
at all?
there's a couple lines I would say that really closely mirror what we're doing. We are a Dutch 2-part, originally out of Holland in 1990. So again, we've got a 2-part base for every medium there is, and then we've got all of our additives on top of that. So there were quite a few Dutch companies that were on that route, and it wasn't only until like 2014 or 2015 where legislation started to change over there in Holland, and people started to kind of move on. So that's actually when House and Garden made the move to the United States, and now they're located up in Arcata, California, which is like
Okay.
the northern end of Humboldt County.
One of the viewers wants to know, how is it as far as like with the pH and stuff like that? Do you see pH swings with it in different mediums and stuff, or is it stable pretty much?
The guys that I've had reach out about pH swings are often using city water. And one thing that like I feel a lot of gardeners don't realize is that if you're using city water, there's buffers in that water that are meant to bring the acidity up. So it's basically gonna make your pH rise to 7 or higher in sake of like not rotting out your pipes with acidic water. So if you're using city water, even if you drop some pH down into that and bring it into range,
Still gonna rise
that
up.
that buffer is still in there. So, when you water your plants, now you have the tendency for a rise in pH.
You got to use that. There's something that breaks that, though. Isn't there a way to break that chemical they put in there? I've heard somebody tell me.
And it's
like
not really
additive
chlorine. It's not really chlorine that we're looking to like let bubble off in 24 hours. There's actually like different types of potassium in there, bicarbonates and stuff that are going to be bringing your pH up always. So using an RO system is the best way to make sure that you clean your water completely, or you could see a rise in your pH.
Yeah, I'm in New York City, dude, and my water, after I gas it off, I let it gas off usually for like 72 hours or so, and it fucking sits right at like 6.6, like right there. I add nutrients, and it's usually about 6.5 almost every time, bro. I fucking love it. I got the best water in New York City, dude.
So what my buddy realized with city water is it's going to change pH from summertime to wintertime.
100%.
So that's what we've seen throughout years. You're using different amounts of pH down to come into range between summer and winter. It's kind of like gasoline. Gasoline is more expensive in summer because it evaporates off more. But that's also something to keep in mind with your city water is it's going to change pH. So you need to account for that later on.
And even on your well.
Summertime, it goes up to like 7. And I got to adjust it down. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I actually just noticed the jump again. It's how I know that they're fucking with the water. Because I noticed the jump on my pH thing every time. Because it gases off every winter, bro. All winter. Actually, once like September comes, it starts coming back to normal range again. But for that summertime, I guess because so many more people are, in the streets or whatever, who knows, But they're definitely pouring more crap in it,
And the same thing happens to well water. So like I lived in Lake Tahoe for some time. I live in a mountain town now. If you're on a well and there's a bunch of snow melt, that is going to change your water. So you will see these swings from season to season. But yeah, I mean, if you can filter with an RO water or an RO filter, then you're going to have a fresh slate every time. So you know that you've removed all the chlorines, all the buffers, all the excess ppm that you're about to supplement on your own, and it really gives you a blank slate to kind of run your nutrient program and be fully in charge of it. So I would highly recommend that everybody runs water filtration if you can. And the only other time I really see like swings in your pH is a lot of people will pour a cold reservoir and let it warm up to room temp. And as it warms up, the pH also rises. So if you mix your reservoir at 63 degrees and then you're feeding it at 68, your pH is also risen. And it's always good to test your water before you feed. I remember my first grow.
My ppm like 70 after it sits, dude, for like 3 days. It sits literally at 70. It's dope.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Honestly,
that's
I mean, right, anything over 150 ppm on a 500 scale, we typically recommend some kind of filtration just to make sure there's not like some calcium in there that's going to grab onto phosphorus, and now that calcium phosphate's too large a particle to be immediately absorbed. So using filtration really kind of helps keep things, takes the guesswork out of it. And if you don't have those buffers designed to bring your pH up in your water, you can pretty much ensure that you're going to have a nice stable pH throughout your grow.
Yeah, I've been I've been blessed with that, man, with the good water, bro, because I see sometimes, like, mentoring people a lot, for the last few years, the hardest thing to figure out, and it's like, you'll ask somebody about their water and they're like, yeah, well water. And well, have you tested it? And then they start having all these fucking weird problems with their plants, and you're like, have you ever done any kind of test? You can, and I look at it like, if you have well water and this and that, where it can constantly change, like with a bad, you can get a bad rainstorm, it can change your shit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not kind of knowing what's going on in your water, like, especially with that, it would drive me bonkers, bro, because just the stupid shit that happens to plants that I've seen from like wacky well water is insane. And it goes in holy Christ, it's like you chase your tail because you're like, man, what the fuck? And you think you're going nuts because the plant, you're telling somebody, like this and that. And then you find out that, you're thinking about the well water. Then it dawns on you like, man, the damn well water, it's got to have something,
Yeah, it's usually a problem will come about where they're like, hey, I think my plants aren't getting enough food. And their immediate response is like, I'm going to feed it more. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Let's do a slurry test, which if you slurry test is the go-to. Like Google Hanna, Hanna, slurry test. And the first video that pops up on YouTube, it'll teach you how to do one of these. You just gather some soil from the worst looking plant in the room and then some from the best looking plant in the room. You do a side-by-side slurry test and you compare the difference there. And that'll show you, you're like, oh man, if it's a high EC or ppm, it's often because the pH was off. And the way I've liked to describe pH to people is it's kind of like the salt and pepper I'd put on your food. If I have you over for dinner and I cook you a dank ass meal, but then I douse it in salt and pepper, like you're gonna sit there, you'll be nice and take a bite or two.
I hate when people do that shit, bro.
Yeah, you're mostly gonna drink water. And that's exactly what your plants are gonna do if the food doesn't taste good. Yep. They will drink that water, they will leave the salt behind, and now you've got excess in the root zone. So
lock it up, baby.
Yeah, so you got to make sure the food tastes good every time, or you're not going to get maximum absorption.
Yeah. And the weird shit that can happen, bro, from fucking with salts, like salt buildups and stuff like that, you start having nitrogen changing its thing and becoming like a poison to the plant and stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's all those wacky things that can happen besides just the lockout. You know what I mean? So it's like those are the worst things because if you start having shit like that, it's like you might as well just start over because there's like, once that kind of shit happens, it's like, you ain't taking that out. You know what I mean? Like it's you're on a nightmare situation now.
Yeah, you're never gonna repair cooked leaves. All you can do is pay attention to the new growth and make adjustments in the root zone. So a good flush. Trying to get the pH back in range. If it was too high, you can overcompensate with a low pH and push a flush water through until the runoff reads in range, and then you stop flushing. So it's like you just got to make sure that the roots, you got to know what the roots are dealing with. If there's a problem above the ground, there's probably a problem below.
The first thing is take the slurry, dude, because when you take that slurry, you take that core out. If you got like some rot down there or something, you're going to smell it on the end of that core. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the slurry, not only is it telling you, your relatives, your ppm, your pH, et cetera, it's going to be, that's the first thing I do when I punch a core. I smell the fucking thing. You know what I mean? And that's it. Like that's the main, like if you don't take a smell of that, like if you got weird shit going on with your plant, you're crazy not to. Like sometimes you won't notice it. Like it might be just starting, and it's not pungent. You know what I mean? But you'll catch it. Like you'll be like, it smells off because it doesn't smell like soil anymore. You know what I mean? It starts to get that funk, that
funky.
Like so. So here's a question. Here's another one. Has the shift towards living soils, regenerative practices, organic preferences changed how House and Garden's keeps its position? Like are you guys ever going to go towards that whole?
I mean, we have people that run our products in living soil. It's like they typically will stay away from your high PK additives because it's believed to damage some of those like beneficials that are within. But like a product like Roots Accelerator, that is used by tons of living soil guys.
I use it, dude. I love it, bro. I love that shit. That stuff is, it is such a little amount too, man, and it cranks, bro. That shit cranks, like, because like I'll use it. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, even if you're doing like 40, 50 gallons, it's not a lot, bro. It's like a little bit of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like even, so like I go through, let me think here. I go through about 100 gallons a week once I start cranking in veg a little bit, and then into bloom, I could bump up even more, to like sometimes almost $1.50, $1.75 a week, depending upon how the plant's or drinking. But when you're only putting in, whatever, what is it, like 0.5 or something like that, right?
It's 1 milliliter per gallon. Now, if you
Yeah.
are using an air stone, we would recommend bumping it down to 0.5 ml per
That's
gallon. Um,
that's
especially in like a aeroponic cloning solution. We've got people who run it as little as like 1/4 of a milliliter per gallon. So, like a bottle this size, this 500 mil, this is going to be doing somewhere between 500 and 1,000 gallons.
yeah, it's good. It's a good amount.
Yeah. But yeah, we got people who use it with living soil, especially enzyme products with like Multizen and Bud XL, like these two.
Like, you want to get into those a little bit to tell them, like, what as far as
Yeah.
like what's the multis? What would you, if someone came up to you and they're like, all right, I want to start running the multis then. What does it do? And
Yeah.
like, where would you start it? Let's say.
So this product contains enzymes, and the enzymes, they're typically known for breaking down dead organic matter. So if you have some roots that dry back or die off, or you've got some organic components that need help breaking down, the Multizen is going to attack those and start to make them into a plant available form. So this is something that you would use during that vegetative growth. Like comparable products would be like Hygrozyme or SLF 100. This is the enzyme in our line, at least for the vegetative portion. And then again, we switch to Bud XL and flour as more of our transfer enzyme to transfer those sugars. But yeah, those two are great for running organics, and if you're not running living soil or organics, and maybe you are running a cheap salt solution, you can get rid of your hypochlorous acid in exchange for drip clean, which is fully friendly with enzymes and bacteria, and you can start pushing a little more flavor into your
Now the
plant.
drip clean, I have never used that one yet. So
So drip clean is our most concentrated product. It's 0.4 milliliters per gallon, and this is to act as a cleaning agent. That's more of a preventative. So really, it doesn't use any corrosive means to break things down.
if you're
So
using auto pots and shit like that, great for stuff like that.
perfect for stuff like that. But honestly, even if you're hand watering,
Okay.
this is going to keep excess salt from building up in the root zone,
Okay.
which helps to keep them from getting bogged down by excess salt. So
Yeah.
Like if you're
drip
keeping
clean,
weather around.
yeah, and it doesn't use the corrosive means, so that means that it's fully compatible with
It's almost like a
enzymes and
diuretic.
bacteria.
It's almost like a diuretic.
Yeah, it's very unique. In fact, like the science of this is they take advantage of ionic bonding to kind of
Okay.
help clean things. So, if anybody wants to chat on that a little closer, I'd be happy to take some messages on my Instagram. I'm james.houseandgarden on IG, and we could chat a bit further there. I know there's definitely some things about our products that there's a lot more to them that, because of the way labeling laws go, I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah,
But
I know
if
exactly.
anybody here has any questions about some of our stuff, then I'd be happy to take it off to the side and chat personally.
Yeah, we had Gary on a couple weeks ago, and it's the same. I understand. You know what I mean, because I've been dealing with everybody for so long now. But at first I was like, man, why can't you? I got mad at. I had Brian on, and after the thing when I had Brian Davis on, I got mad. I was like, bro. I'm asking you questions about the shit you can't even fucking answer.
Yeah, I know. That's a
and
tough
he's
part.
like, bro, it's the regulations because every state's so different and this and that. He's like,
Totally.
it becomes a hassle. So he's like, you just can't
Yeah.
talk about it. So
Totally.
that's
I mean,
cool, bro. I understand. It's fine.
For someone like
they can
us,
reach out.
we're almost better like referring them to one of our like, go check out House and Garden Australia, because like they can say a lot more about the products over there than what we can say here.
Yeah.
So we do have websites in other countries that are not us, but our distributors
I never
there
even
have
thought
been,
of that, dude. Like, so holy shit,
Mhm.
man. So
yeah,
wow.
they're allowed to say a lot of the stuff that we're kind of prevented from saying, and you know that we're protected in that we are not them. So if they have a problem with something that was said, you know, we kind of just go, you know, we didn't say that, you know. And so, but you can definitely dig in a bit more that way. You know, it does suck that it's so, you know,
Yeah, it is what it
restricted,
is.
but
You know,
you know,
gotta
we've
put in
got
my
a
foot.
line. It's a lot of proprietary ingredients within. You know, it's been
Yeah,
doing its thing since 1990. So a lot of
Oh, yeah.
people trust in it.
it's
Oh, it's
nobody's
driving
business.
through for sure.
Sorry, it's nobody's business. You know what I mean? Like that's what it all comes down to, bro.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
even listen, KFC ain't ever given up the secret of that chicken. You know what I mean?
100%,
You know,
100%.
so
We got that secret sauce.
yeah, the secret sauce. That's it. So so here's one for you. So complete this sentence. The difference between an average grow and a legendary harvest is what?
An average grow and
Legendary harvest.
a legendary harvest. Man, I would say attention to detail, you know. When you can get in there, like if you can get a VPD chart on your wall and follow a VPD chart, that was the biggest game changer for a lot of the people at my store. You know, I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey dude, if you can dial this in, your plants are going to pray 24/7." And then I would say all of your, you know, attention to your inputs. You know, it's like, okay, am I cutting costs? Can I expect that I'm also cutting quality? You know, and that's the thing. It's like with our nutrient line, you're gonna you're gonna get what you put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like
That's
here's
part of why I still
one of
hand water. I want to be there and see everything. I don't want to miss shit.
yeah,
one of
no,
our
and I mean, fertigation can promote laziness, and then you miss things.
yeah, yeah, exactly. One of our audience members, Gary, just started a commercial farm and he hasn't settled on a product
I was about to say that.
on a nutrient product yet. So I think I'm gonna pass Gary your information so maybe you can
Yeah,
you
please.
guys can talk a little bit and see if it can work for him, you know, because
Totally.
Yeah, he's doing some
I
big things out there. It's going to be awesome.
Where's
yeah,
he
I
out of?
think, where's Gary out of? New Mexico?
Yeah, he's out in New Mexico. He just started a large operation. He's running a lot of our genetics. He's running a lot of other people's genetics. He's running it's a big operation. So
Cool.
I think he could really benefit for some quality.
And
Yeah.
plus the guidance too. A lot of companies, you know what I mean. They'll come and they'll give you the nutrients, and you know they'll be your friend for a week or two after that check clears, and they walk away. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of guys don't want to take that time, and I think that's a big difference here is that they'll always be able to get in touch with somebody to help if there's ever an issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, customer support is so huge nowadays. So it's like that's kind of how we got where we are. You know, we provided the support for people to crush it their first go around because, you know, if they don't, there's a good chance they're not going to buy it again. So, you know, we provide that support. We do take the time to hold some hands. You know, so if you do have a new grower that's out there, they want to holler at us, we'll walk them through a perfect
Yeah.
run.
It's not listen. There's nothing wrong with having someone hold your hand, man. I'm telling you, listen, every now and then, even fucking guys who've been running shit for years, I fuck up. You know what I mean? Like I just bombed my plant so bad this last run that I mean, I hit him. What was it? I think I fucked up. I don't know what I was doing, bro. I was in just a daze for like 2 or 3 days. I was working like almost 24 hours straight. Then I was home for like 3-4 hours and going back, you know, and it was just constant with the end of the season. So I gave him basically Moab 3 days in a row and just nuked them. You know what I mean? Like, they came out bad. Like they came out great because I got in there fast and dumped it, but the fucking PPMs were like 6,000.
Damn.
You know, and all these crazy. And I'm like, what the hell did I do? Like, but the bud
attention
came
to
out
detail,
slim,
my dude.
but the fucking yield was just god awful, bro. I was like, I was so embarrassed by it.
Well, again, attention to detail. So you know the difference between a legendary harvest and an average grow.
Yeah, bro. Trying to close out that season last year, dude, I was just so cooked, man. You know, and It just translated. It was just this over this winter. You know what I mean? It just happened. You know, I harvested them probably, I don't know, a month and a half ago or something like that. You know, so but I screwed up so bad, bro. I was like, man, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
and then when I realized it, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. And high PK additives can be dangerous. You know, we've
Bro.
seen people. Yeah, that's why I always tell people when you're going to run shooting powder for the first time, just do one of the sachets per 25 gallons, like, and see how they respond. Like if you see burnt tips, it doesn't make sense to double up on the next dosage.
No.
You know, it's like, okay, maybe I'll hit it a little lighter. So it's like, you know, attention to detail again. It's like if you notice that your plants aren't taking it, like, don't double up on the strength.
Yeah, you'll notice. You'll notice. Like, if the plants look great, and all of a sudden they're doing some weird shit, even if they're not looking like, you know, like the discoloration or anything like that, but if they start doing weird shit like clutching, you know, or like when they'll kind of draw in, or, you know, just like weird, just something don't look right, dead it right there. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see sometimes like that precursor to like the real fuck, you know, like where the damage starts coming in, and you can, if you notice it, like, you know, because the plant reacts to it. If you notice it fast enough, sometimes you can get in there and, like, you know, and like be like, oh fuck it, just dump some water through, you know, and try to push it out. If you know, you know, and check your ranges and be like, oh shit, it's done. Like, I just saw, you know, you save yourself from hell. You know what I mean? Because when you see it, you're already, you know, you're days, sometimes 10 days, depending upon what you do, you know?
In soil, you know, with hydro, you see it a little quicker, you know, okay, things happen a bit faster, but, you know, the ultimate goal for everybody should make every day of the plant's life the best day that it could be. So it's like, you know, a plant will live 60 days, you know, so if you compare that to a human's life, that's like every day is like a year in a human's life. So if they've got wet feet for like a whole
Benjamin
year,
Button.
you know,
you got a fucking Benjamin Button on your hand, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just every day, you know, and inevitably you're gonna have some mishap that you're gonna have to correct, and you might lose out a little bit, you know. But the goal is to make every run a little better than the last run, and to make every day a perfect day, because that's like, you know, to hit your genetic potential. You've got to be on top of it, and that's where the attention to detail is. It's like, hey, I need to make sure all my boxes are checked, not just, you know, my environment, but my nutrients and everything. So,
I think that's what most people miss out on, is like, especially when you're pushing these plants, when you got your environment dialed and you got your light kicking, these things are gonna want to grow faster. They're gonna want to grow bigger, and people don't account for that. And they're like, "Whoa, this thing got super big," and then it just started fucking up. Like, when you're pushing stuff that hard, you're gonna have to adjust other parameters in your grow. And if you're not paying attention to that, you're gonna screw things up tremendously.
Totally. I highly recommend anybody watching this Google searches the Liebig's Law of the Minimum. And it basically talks about how when you increase one factor, it doesn't do any good unless you've increased every other factor.
Exactly.
Those guys that you're talking about that run these super optimized grow environments, like we got a guy in Sacramento that he's hitting 2,500 ppfd of light. So with par, that's like the power of the sun. And he has to run almost double our base nutrient, you know, to keep up with that. So it's like, you
have to have everything going.
That's exactly what I meant.
So, you know, all your inputs need to be considered. If you're pushing super high ppfd, if you're pushing CO2, if you're in a hydroponic or even like a cocoa media, you're demanding a lot from your plants. So it makes sense to increase your food. And where the increase is done with House and Garden is in the base nutrients alone. So you always follow recommended dosage for additives. It's the base nutrient that we give you a baseline. And then if you start pushing your plant harder, you can feed a bit more. So it's, you know, it's all about taking good notes too, you know, and every variety, as we know, some of them are going to be real aggressive feeders, and some are not going to be so receptive.
Yeah, you'll know. Yeah, you'll know that those are the ones that
Those
drive you.
temperamental bitches.
Those ones, the ones that don't that you start off, they look like they're gonna be feeders, and then you start ramping it up, and they're just like wonk, wonk.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but it does happen.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah. Certain genetics, you know what I mean? Like there even and it's not even guys who have good genetics. Like there's always that one. There's always a seed in there that sucks. You know what I mean? Like I've had great plants. I've grown a whole pack, and it's just one that's like a turd. You're just like, man.
You get those ones that hate feeding time. Every time you go feed them, they poop for 3 days before they get happy.
Yeah. Oh man, it's nothing worse than a finicky plant, bro. Oh,
well, that's why
Mac 1, bro. Mac 1's that plant. You know what I mean? Mac 1's that plant. That pain in the ass, finicky fucking plant that just drives you batshit crazy, and it takes you 2-3 runs to like finally get it to like where you're like. Oh man, that plant, that's my numb plum, bro. Fuck that thing.
Yeah.
Every time I grow it drives me bananas.
If the market demands and the prices per pound is where it needs to be, then you're gonna grow that plant. You're gonna figure it out. You can dial it in. So it's the guys that do kind of have that attention to detail, and they're like, hey, I'm gonna put these 2 strains in here because they both run 9 weeks long and they feed similarly.
I had somebody telling me, I wish I knew what it was, because I would just say it because it was so asinine. Something about with genetics, about like let's say you have like a mother that's a sour diesel, right? And you have a father, but you want a nicer sour diesel. He's trying to argue that you wouldn't want any sour diesel in the fucking male plant, and I'm just like, why on earth wouldn't you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? And he's just like, no. The mother's always stronger. You don't want it in the male too. And I'm like, bro, what do you like? What does that make sense? Like, like, why wouldn't you want it in there? And just argued till the fucking cows came home. Like it was just like, like coming from God. You know what I mean? Like one of those kind of things, bro. It was so asinine. Yeah. And I'm like, so you wouldn't want to have an extra, like 50% sour diesel in that male, no, right? Like that wouldn't make any sense, I mean, it just made it drove me crazy, bro, because it just wouldn't stop. We lost Jay, he'll be back.
Yeah, he will, and he's kind of our genetic mastermind, right? Like, because he's done a lot of breeding himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah, hold on, let me bring him back in.
Because I will say, like, I've always wanted to breed, but I've never had the space to breed.
That's exactly.
Sorry, I had you guys are sounding like robots, so I just turned the Wi-Fi off and went straight to my data. So this seems to be better.
That's fine.
Okay.
We were talking. Did you hear what we were saying at the end with the breeding?
Yeah. I just came in. You guys were talking about me doing genetics and stuff.
Yeah. But
I was just saying how I don't have a ton of experience in that category. I haven't had the space to do much breeding, but he's had some guys reaching out to him talking about the proper male and female to kind of push different varieties. So someone once told me only breed with the best shit you got, and like that's a simple thing, but it's just kind of just how it is,
An ugly fucking kid, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. If you got ugly kids, you got ugly kids. Nothing you can do about that. But no, I get every day. I'm getting real in depth with different things with breeding, and I think recently I have gotten into the conversation on the long argument on regs versus femmes, and you're breeding feminized, you're introducing hermaphroditic traits, stuff like that, and we could talk about that all day long. But that's currently what I've been researching on lately, especially like guys in LinkedIn and Discord. But
sure,
yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, and I can't speak too much to that, but I mean, from what I understand is like if the plant had hermed on you because of the environment, then it may still produce, you know, feminized seed versus like if the plant hermed because it was genetically a hermaphrodite, then it could produce seed that potentially takes on those hermaphroditic tendencies.
Yeah. So the thing is what people don't really think about and realize is the true nature of cannabis is to survive, to pass on, to breed, to survive. It doesn't give a shit what we want. If we want unseeded bud or not, it doesn't care. It cares about surviving and passing on.
Why do you think it keeps
Totally.
pushing those white hairs the entire
Exactly. We're sexually frustrating these females.
Yeah.
So throughout the whole point of cannabis's life, we are stressing the fuck out of these girls, like literally. So it's not uncommon for stuff to herm on you because that's just in its nature. I don't care if you test 1,000 plants. Somewhere deep in that lineage is going to be some type of hermaphroditic trait because that's just part of its survival.
Because
in
the long run, fucking, you know, if it has to have that, because if the males die off in the environment, it still has to have a way to fucking produce a progeny to all it wants to do is, you know, keep going.
It wants to pass on. Yeah.
Well, like anything, everybody wants to pass its seed. You know
I've actually heard a good theory that I wanted to put to test is the earlier that you pop like reg seeds, you have a higher chance of having females. Only given the fact that when that female grew and it got pollinated, it's like, there's a male around. And the sooner that you pop those, there's some, I'd have to look into it. I haven't researched it yet, but the hormone in the seed is going to make those females to try to catch that male also.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
That's something that I wanted to research or put into the test, but I think that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I can see that being true.
Yeah.
I mean, why the hell not?
That's the first one for me. But with these with stressors, I feel like that's what a lot of these like.
I fuck with my plants all the time, bro.
Oh,
I noticed that stress has made my plants, the terps, fucking go bonkers, bro. And I teach new guys. I got guys that are literally first fucking plant, and I'm like, do this, lights down, temp here, temp there, fucking do. I'm like, I shake it, you know, just making them fucking stress the balls out of the plants at different times, not all the time, and you literally see a difference in the plant by far. I don't care anybody who's tried it. You see the differences, man. It's 100%. Stressors are good for plants in moderation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've seen some like pest what do you call it? Pest pressure.
Yeah.
Add to the like the terpene and cannabinoid content of a flower. Yeah. But you know, certain stressors, I would say like low light is one that I'm not a fan of, you know, and that's why I tell people, hey, if you're not getting light down to those flower sides down low, just pull them off. You know, those are going to be larvae anyway.
Yeah.
And they have a more tendency to herm on you with low light.
Yeah. And my theory there is that if you leave anything in the dark long enough, it'll have sex with itself at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, leave me in the dark for about 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
my thing is if you have a plant if you have some genetics that are herming from a small light leak, throw the whole fucking pack away. Yeah. Don't even. You should not have plants that are herming off the tiniest of light leaks.
They should take.
I'm not a firm believer in that.
Listen, in nature, fucking animals are running through them. Fucking wind is knocking them around. Fucking
the
hail
moon is shining light.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like, and they make it. You know, your plants are growing in parts of the world where it's like fucking 9,000 degrees.
Well,
you know,
that's what happened with hybridization. Is it's selective breeding, and a lot of that natural stuff that land races used to have to survive out in the wild, or the deer fucking chopping their head off. You know, we don't necessarily have plants like that anymore. Especially that we've been breeding indoors for favorable characteristics.
Reintroducing some of that fucking land race back into there, man. Eventually it's just going to become so far away from something. You know what I mean? The further you get from the original, the more fucked up it's going to be. So in my mind, it's like if generational, if there's not a reintroduction of that genetic material, eventually that genetic material is going to fade. It has to. It's just, it's not, it, you know what I mean? It's like if I have a kid and that kid, whatever, turns into a tranny and ain't having it's done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like that genetic material's done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't having no beautiful redheads no more. It's gone. So it's like, the further you get away from it and you stop it, I think that all breeders eventually, especially if you're running stuff up into like F5s, F6s and stuff like that, I think whatever, if you look back in the lineages of the stuff that's in there, if you see Afghanis or something, there's land races up there, bring it back into it, man. Because I mean, granted, you're going to make something new, but when you put that back in there, just imagine how much better you're going to make it. Because all that good that you made still there. Now you're adding one of the granddaddies back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you don't even need to necessarily make a whole like inbred line. What people don't realize with breeding is you can still shorten a gene pool without even back crossing, without even going to an F5 or stuff like that. If you can bring back similar lineage into a cross, you are technically shortening that gene pool, especially with likewise parents, even though not necessarily that it's a back cross or that it's that you've taken it to an F6. So you can even add in some of those if it's in the lineage. Like let's say you got some Durban poison in the lineage, which is not necessarily a 100% land race, but it's a close, strong competitor to being a true land race.
Yeah.
You could throw that in the mix of something that already has that in it, and you have shortened and strengthened that gene pool in kind of a shortcut kind of way, and still have some variation.
It's like throwing one cross block in between your 16s, or doing them, all the way down. You're gonna have a stronger wall. You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
It's basically just reinforcement, as far as I'm concerned. I don't understand why you don't see guys doing it more. Or guys, literally taking the time. If breeders have the time to breed all the shit they're doing, they should also have time to be monkeying with, land race and developing their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, because I think it's going to take a long time anyway. You might as well do it, and while you're bringing out all the other stuff, because once you come with, and start combining all that shit together, you're changing the definition of what's going on. You know what I mean? Because what's going on is just the same. It's like everything's becoming,
only problem is no one wants a 14-week flower.
Yeah, and GMO, you know what I mean? Like everybody loves GMO, and that shit takes forever, bro. I've had those things go. I'm like, man, this fucking thing ain't done yet,
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it goes over 9 weeks, and people lose their mind.
Yeah, bro. Oh my god, when I had my the whole cycle going, where I was doing like every 45 days, and I fucking forgot about the GMO, and I had one GMO in a fucking tent, but it got to be so goddamn big that I couldn't do anything else, and it just stopped the progress. I had to wind up holding this fucking plant, and I was like, man, it killed me, bro. It wound up going 16 weeks almost, and I was just like, and I was like, bro, every 45 days, like clockwork, and I'd have 3 or 4 plants in that tent. And this thing I couldn't do anything with it, bro, because everything, the way the tents were set up, and I was like, man, it fucked my whole vibe up, bro. I just and I forgot about the damn thing, running that long. I was like, because it grows fast, the veg is fucked.
Oh yeah, she stretches.
Yeah, bro. So I was like, man, I'm like, this is, I'm like, I'm cruising, and then I'm like, got into the bloom, and I'm like, man, it shouldn't be here,
She takes her time, for sure.
This is gonna suck. Just change the whole landscape of it. So I like to do, every time we have somebody on, we do some trivia and give away some stuff.
All right.
We Aero Mixer backs us, backs the live, so we always give away some Aero Mixer swag and stuff too.
Sweet.
We just do some basic trivia. I don't know if you want to pull some trivia out on your end, or you want me to just roll with it, and you just say what you want to give away. I forgot what we said earlier.
Okay, if somebody can remember, the year that House and Garden came out, I think I've said it twice now. If the first person to remember and put in there gets a bottle of Roots Accelerator Gold to try out.
Oh shit, that's a good one. That's something to have in the arsenal.
Yes, sir.
First
Yes,
one to
sir.
answer. That
Yep.
shit's bro. That shit's bomb.
No,
Nope.
not 60.
Nope. Come on now. Come on now.
Eric Page, where are you?
Roots Accelerator, some bomb shit too.
1901.
Sean Markley.
There you go.
Sean takes it.
Hey, what's up, Sean?
Hell yeah, Sean.
My
Listening.
notebook.
Hey, Sean is a good dude.
Sweet.
I actually have to
Well
send
deserved.
I actually have to send out some certificates. So I forgot.
Hell yeah. So I was born in '87, so people were winning cups when I was just in diapers.
when I was just a little James.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But yeah,
Holy
I
shit.
mean, I gotta say, like, I'm very happy to be on with this company and to have this privilege, because
Hell yeah.
if there's anything that makes life easy, it's getting behind a product that actually works. So, you know, something
Yeah,
that's been around this long.
and it's not just bullshit. The shit is fucking legit.
I
Totally.
know all about that, bro. Man, let me tell you, I'm known for calling out the turds, you know, and
Yeah.
It's quite entertaining.
and and I've come across the few that, I mean, you're just like, man, this is ridiculous, you know. Like some of these companies, bro, they try to reinvent the wheel, and it's like, and they get these schnazzy advertisement campaigns and just bullshit their way to fucking fame and fortune, and it's like, oh, it drives me crazy, bro. So when I get like, I like to try to get those kind of products and try them, because
Sure.
it's just, I had a guy, there was this guy who one of the products I got was a UV light bug killer, right? Bro, you had to see this fucking thing, dude. It was like a disc like this, right? And it was purple diodes going around it, and you put it around the bucket or in the soil, with the plant around it and whatnot, and there's no way possible to get anything. You put it on for like fucking like 15 minutes a day, and it kills all pathogens, PM, botrytis, all this shit, dude. You had to see the list of shit, right? And then it's like, you can't get drips, you can't get fucking mites, you can't get, you know, nothing. Basically impervious to anything, bro. 15 minutes a day, this thing, right? And it's like, it was like $300-400 for one of these fucking things. This thing came, bro, and I mean, it just, all it did was make it look like, you know, like you had a fucking black light on around the bottom of the plant.
Yeah.
And no bullshit, I dropped all the temperatures, fucked with the humidity and stuff, and gave the plant PM on purpose. And got there with this thing, bro. And the guy's like, the worst case is a PM possible. You put it on there, it'll kill him in 2 days and all this shit. I documented this shit, and it was just, I mean, I never seen more bullshit in my life. There's no, everything, bro. This thing was caked. It looked like it had, like I threw a pound of cocaine on the plant. Like it was just mangled, you know. And this guy, literally, I'm on IG, you know, just tearing the product up because it was just so absurd, bro. It was just absolutely absurd. Like, and people were buying these things on IG like fucking hotcakes.
Wow.
And I'm like, this guy must have made a mint, because the amount of people that fell for this shit, I got it for free, or I wouldn't even have bought it, you know. But the amount of people that fell for this thing, and I'm like, you know, like I got a bridge to sell you over here, you know what I mean? Like, it's just insane some of the shit that people come out with, and people go flocking to it because it's got a catchy little, you know, tune or something on an ad, you know what I mean? It's drives me nuts, but I hate people who rob the community with the garbage products.
Yeah,
it drives me nuts, man.
It's rough out there, and everybody's trying to make a buck. But you know, with a company like us, we've always believed that the proof was in the pudding. And if you ever catch us at a trade show or store event, we will give you your first run for free. Like you come to an event and you talk to one of us, we will hook you up. We'll give you all the tech support and make sure you crush it your first time, because the proof is in the pudding. And it's just like, you know, the product wouldn't be here today if it wasn't doing what it's been doing since 1990.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, when people look around and, and you got all these products out there and whatnot, look at when they started in the cannabis community. You know what I mean? And look at where they are now, because a lot of the stuff that's out there, you'll see it and then it's gone.
Yeah, fly by night.
You'll see it, it's gone. Or they still have the same 50 customers they had when they started. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and or you'll see these guys with crazy prices on, a run, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you got to ask yourself a question. When a company's not even a year old, how do they justify a $600 run? You know what I mean? Let's just say quart bottles or something like that. How do you even justify that? You haven't, you're not even like, like registered in states or something. You know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And you see these guys with these prices, and you got to ask yourself, like, is this what I want to use, or something that's been here since 1990, where if I spend, I get something for free for the first run, if you catch them at a show, or even if you buy the first one, it's inexpensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Results are banging, tech support, all this other stuff. Try chasing Joe Schmo for tech support. You know what I mean? Like, that's the shit that makes me nuts when I see like all these companies popping up, and you're like, like people go running towards them, like, and it's like, man, it's like, it don't even make sense. The shit's, it's not even proven,
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is the proof is in the pudding. We stand behind the product. We'll help you crush it your first go. And we got people that grow and get the best pound prices in their area because their product stands out. We got bag appeal. It's not just about how it looks and how it grew on Instagram, because let's face it, like, there's some really cheap product that you can use that'll produce some really beautiful flowers on Instagram. But when you roll one of those up, you're putting it out like, halfway through the joint, and you're just saying, I'm good here.
Yeah,
so,
and let me tell you, dude, there's nothing worse than flower that tastes like crap. Smells great, but just you don't get any of it in the smoke, bro. It's just you wasted all your fucking time. As far as I'm concerned, you just wasted all your fucking time. You just literally put electricity, water, this, that, the other thing into it. Blah 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 blah.
Especially electricity,
and you're literally, and your overhead was out of control, and you can't sell the shit. You know what I mean? Like, you sell it once and nobody comes back. Like, that's the worst, bro.
Yeah, I mean, one of the guys we got in Oklahoma, he's Fire Brothers. I visited his facility just maybe a month ago. He's getting a $3,000 pound in Oklahoma,
nice.
where that's like unheard of.
Yeah,
like the
bro,
price
it's like
per pound
people
there
are selling $300-$400 pounds out there, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy, and he's still commanding the highest. And if you go check his Instagram out, you'll see.
I know who you're talking about. Those guys are crushing it.
What's the name of them?
Fire Brothers.
Fire Brothers.
Yeah,
they're in Oklahoma. We went and saw them, me and my boy Mikey from Hydro Farm, and we were gifted with some of their. Man, he had a Wagyu. He had all this different like exotic shit. And again, this is the stuff you can stick to the wall.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Nothing better, bro. Nothing better than when the shit just a sticky, disgusting mess.
Yeah.
And after it dries, it's it's still sticking to the bag. Like, I mean,
you open a bag and everyone's like,
yeah,
what's that?
All of a sudden, heads turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Oh, I love, bro. It's nothing better, dude. I love cracking open and you just, the whole room just gets full in seconds. That is the best. That's the best advertisement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing worse. Where I am in Brooklyn, there's a lot of dudes who sell just straight swig. I mean, they think that they got the fucking bomb. It's basically like those $200-$300 California pounds of garbage. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And there's 15 people standing there all selling the same bullshit, and they open up the bag, and you're like, the fucking thing's up to your ears before you can smell it, And I'm like, I pull out an eighth, and I'm like, before I even get the fucking zipper open on my backpack, you already smelled it because I'm starting to kick it to the front. The zipper opens, and it's just an uppercut, you know what I mean? And I'm like, here I am with a fucking eighth, and this guy's standing there with like a fucking pound.
Yeah.
And crack open that eighth, and everybody, damn. And this guy's standing there with this fucking pound of Sunset Sherbet, with a
squeezing it, trying to provoke that smell.
Yeah. He's got the bellows, fucking
wafting.
But, bro, it's crazy, man. I'm like, dude, you guys don't even know what we like. This shit is crazy. Like, I'm like, and it all smells the same. It all smells like fucking lemons. That's the thing that I don't even, I still can't figure it out. But every single fucking bud that I've smelled in New York City that, that I've seen, dudes selling around whenever I've stopped and bullshitted and whatnot and kicked it up, it all smells like lemons. It's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever, bro. It's
gotta be that shit that's fucking spraying on it, man.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Bro,
that's
the spray packs, listen, spray packs in New York City, you could be a millionaire. If I had access to spray packs at like, $15 a pack or something like that, I could retire with spray packs. Everybody and their mother smokes those things. $60 an eighth. When they don't smoke it, withdrawals. Like I know a couple of my buddies who smoke it and they go through fucking withdrawals without it. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, they smoke my weed and they're absolutely bombed, for hours. They smoke that shit every 20 minutes. They got another fucking joint. And I'm like, bro, doesn't that tell you something? Like, you're smoking like 4 or 5 eighths a day of that shit, And I'm like, and I throw them a dub and they got it for a fucking week, And I'm like, what is the mentality of that crap? That spray stuff is crazy, bro.
Yeah. It's quality, not quantity, man.
Eric Page says my bullseye did that in a 2-car garage, had everybody looking in 5 seconds.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Kevin's going to be on with us. One of the guys in the audience, he's going to be on with us in I think 2 weeks. I think he's on, something like that. So
Sweet.
We'll see you in a few weeks there, Kev. But yeah, I can't stand that shit, bro. With how crappy bud smells, man. A lot of the stuff, dude, that's out there, man. Especially at the dispos, like in New York City, bro. A half a gram of like rosin averages $60 to $90, right?
Oh damn.
Average ounces in the dispo are about $280 to like, but almost $500 in some of the dispos. It's nuts, bro. The prices here. You got it, and like a joint, like you'll get a 0.5 infused joint for like $27.
Holy smokes.
Bro, the dispo.
Well, I haven't paid that much for an ounce since like 2007.
Yeah, they're just straight mugging people at the fucking dispensaries in New York City, bro. Like, I've actually gone when I pass by them, I always stop in there to see the crazy prices. And when I leave, I'm always giving them my number to all the fucking bud attendants in there because I always have shit on me, and I'm like, what is that crap? Bust it open, and they're like, let me get your number, and fucking, they're calling within a day or two. You know what I mean? Like, and
hell yeah.
And they're working. And the other thing about the dispensaries here is you can't see the weed. It's all in books, fucking paper. So you have to actually look at it, and then it comes out sealed, and you can't open it in the dispo and check it.
No
so
way.
You have to look at a fucking sheet or a tablet.
Wow.
And the bud never looks. Of course, the bud never looks like it's going to. You know what I mean? Like when disappointed people constantly.
Oh yeah.
But it's nuts, bro. You can't look at the bud. It's fucking bugged out, man. It's
crazy.
It's either pictures on a paper or a tablet. But you can't even open it in there. Like if you just you can't spot check it or nothing, bro. And it's always dry, crumbly shit. Like I'll always grab like one just to make fun of it, But it's always like you literally just like, and it just looks like ground pepper, just sand, It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! There's nothing worse than shitty weed, man, and everybody's got it out here in abundance, dude.
Yeah, it seems to be making like a big comeback. It seems like there's a whole new classification of weed, and it's like commercial. This is commercial weed.
It doesn't even make sense, bro. Like because it's like all you have is lazy fucking farmers, as far as I'm concerned. You either have lazy farmers or real fucking cheap owners. that don't want to put no money into the product. You know, like if you know. But either way, if that was me, I'd be like, I'm out. Like I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? My reputation is not worth fucking growing shit ass bud. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. I'd rather grow a fucking pound of dank than 600 fucking 100,000 pounds of shit biomass. You know what I mean?
Right. 100%.
Any day of the week, bro. You know, it's insane, man. I see some of that. It just drives me nuts. So, so let's do another giveaway here. Let's do.
You want to do some more Roots Gold? You got a prompt for him?
Do I got what?
You got a prompt for him? We could do some more Roots Gold.
A prompt for what?
How we want to give this away? Some like.
Oh yeah. We'll do a trivia question. We'll do a trivia question.
Okay. What in our product line did I cover that is going to enhance flavor?
Ooh.
First guy to answer.
First guy to answer.
Well, where are my guys at? Come on.
What do we got here? Bud XL.
Boom.
There it is, Eric Page.
Eric Page.
Dang. Is that the same guy?
No, it's another one of my guys, but
okay, cool.
Eric's one of my testers. He's one of the better growers that I know. So it's a.
And what was that for? Accelerator? What was that?
You know, man, since we're talking about Bud XL, we might as make it. Well, let's give him the choice. If he wants Roots XL, hit him up. Let him know you want Roots. If you want Bud XL for
what do you want, Eric? Bud XL or Accelerator? Your choice, brother.
You just say when.
The more expensive one.
Aminos.
Hey, I love amino treatment.
Bro, that shit's bomb. I love my amino treatment, dude. That shit is, you know, it all goes back to just covering your bases, man. You know.
Totally.
Is Eric, you still with us? Let me know which one you want, brother. So, all right. So I'm gonna do a question for we're gonna do a free aero mixer.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
A free aero mixer. Fucking $300 right here, guys. 300 clams right here. So you got to pay the shipping on it. That's it. You know what I mean? And I'll send it to you fucking in an envelope. I'm not sending out trackers for a friggin' piece of paper. It'll be there. Don't worry.
What's my coupon, Dave?
I got to mail these things out. I got to remember just to mail them, bro. I keep forgetting to mail these fucking things.
Tell me about mailing shit.
I owe you. I got to send you one. I got to send Burnsy one, and I got to send whoever wins this one. So, let's see here. Let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something easy. All right, this is pretty easy too. What movie featured the line, "Dude, where's my car"? First person to answer it. If you already won, though.
I can't. Can I win? I love an aero mixer.
Let's do this. No, it's like the fuck.
I used to sell a bunch of aero mixers at my store, and they are the bomb.
Bro, I love them, dude. I absolutely love them. You know, dude, where's my car? Bobby, you already got a fucking aero mixer, you banana, but you could give it to somebody. Don't worry, fucking you got it, because I know you got fucking a couple of things you can use it for. So you got it. I'll give it to you. I always honor it, but
that one was wicked easy.
Yeah, bro.
I did.
Like, a bunch of stoners, dude. They'd be like, "Oh man, what was that movie?"
Wait, who won that one?
Bob Carroll. Bob Carroll. You know what? I'm feeling good tonight. Let's do we'll do a 50% off an aero mixer too. But James, you do the question though.
Okay, what movie did this quote come from? You got a joint, dude? You'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Oh shit!
Yeah, a lot cooler if you did.
If you won, you cannot get it.
Just stop smoking weed if you don't know this one.
50% off an aero mixer.
Cult classic.
Nope.
Nobody.
Come on.
Again, you got a joint, dude?
It'd
You'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And they stay the same age.
There it is. That's the Chief.
All right.
All right. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Nobody.
No,
Dang.
about them high school girls.
Hey, I didn't realize it at the time, but that's a very creepy line, bro.
It is, dude. Going back on it now,
Dude,
you're just like,
that's
oh,
like
man.
when listening to that shit. When as I got older, I was always like, man, did they even fucking think about when they wrote that? You know?
No, they didn't.
I'm always like,
funny.
man, they really were not thinking when they put that shit in that movie. There's gonna be a lot of angry dads out there.
For real.
All right, so we're gonna re-roll. We're gonna re-roll the Aero mixer. Bobby's putting it back into the wild. He already has one. So, we'll do it again. James, let's pull a product question out for this one.
A product question, okay. Let's see.
Free Aero mixer.
For the Aero mixer, let's say, what is the enzyme that you would use during vegetative growth in the house and garden line?
Ooh, deep. Let's see who gets it. This one's open to everyone.
What's going to break down that dead organic matter and make it into a usable form for your plants to eat?
And here's a clue. It's what I like to use for my moms.
Who's got it?
Quaaludes.
Ludes.
Come on, man. Somebody's got to get this one, dude.
Who's paying attention?
Let's see. Come on now. Don't make us look bad.
And so I saw Master Chief. He did reply at 7:36 with the right answer for that movie we were quoting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he got Dude, Where's My Card?
All right, so he got one anyway. So nope, not amino treatment. We'll give you a hint. All right, we'll give you a hint.
There's not multiple answers.
All right, here you go. Ready?
You must find your.
One of the words has an N at the end.
Okay. May or may not be on the table in front of me.
Nope. It's been sitting there the whole fucking time. That shit is so funny, dude. Oh my god, I just noticed that. Come on, man. Someone's got it. Master Chief won something. Master Chief won a 50% off an Aero mixer. That's what it was.
Okay.
I mean, just Google the product and start firing off answers.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary. Nope.
Not nitrogen, Bruce. No, it's an enzyme. Come on.
It's an enzyme. People. Holy Christ, man.
You must find your.
Chief, you want to have an Aero, 50% off an Aero mixer a few minutes ago. You really did. Come on, guys. All right, it's 6 letters.
It's not singular. It's.
No, the second word is 3 letters. All right, let's try it like that, or we're gonna have to switch the question. I can't even believe it's fucking. Come on, man.
We're giving it to you here. There.
Oh.
No,
you know what's funny is multi-zyme. That's multi-zen in every other country. So we'll give him that.
Guys,
we'll give him that.
No, okay.
Travel.
Somebody get it. Somebody just spell it right.
I think he's giving him that one because that's what it's called in other countries.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay.
We call it that in the UK. We call it that in Australia. Okay. We don't call it here in the US. It would be good to know if cannabis travel is in the US.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that.
Because sometimes that can complicate shipping a little bit. We got to hit up our distributors
If it's
abroad.
Australia, it's probably not even going to get in.
Yeah, I mean, I got guys in Australia,
Oh,
so
you
we
do?
can work it out. But yeah, it would be good to know.
Yeah, let us know what country, dude, because we can just have it shipped from there, probably cheaper, right? If we do
that's probably what we would do.
Yeah, but
Okay, I got a question for a pack of seeds.
all right. So you know what? We're gonna put it as Cannabis and Travel as the winner of what was that one for?
That was the man. What were we giving away? We were giving away half. Was it the Aero Mixer or?
Oh yeah, it was the fucking Aero Mixer. Yeah, it was. All right, so Cannabis, I'm gonna honor it to you in the UK, but I'm just gonna mail it like a letter. Okay, you can order this off of Aero Mixer's website, and they'll ship it to the UK. You're gonna have to pay the shipping, but if you want it, I have no problem with just putting it in an envelope and mailing it to you, brother. You know what I mean? That's fine. If it's a couple of bucks, it's a couple of bucks, but a fucking envelope's not going to cost much. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, can he use it?
And I can also just give you the code.
That's what I'm saying. You can use it digitally.
I can there's a code here, and I can just give you that code, and you won't even need for me to mail it, bro.
There you go.
So I'm going to honor it for you.
Perfect. I was thinking that too.
Do me a favor. This is my email. Email me, and I will get your information. All right. Email me. I'll get your information, and I'm going to give you the code. Just pay the shipping, and you got yourself an Aero Mixer, brother.
Sweet.
It's always good, man. Fucking, that's dope as fuck, bro. I'm so happy that somebody's fucking watching from Europe and shit, dude. That's dope as hell. We like.
Yeah, that's dope. We got to show the UK some love.
Yeah, you're gonna love that thing, man. That thing will.
Hell yeah, bro! That thing mixes newts and it's this one you can you can choose either the synthetic, the organic, or the one that does both. So I think the synthetic actually is the one that does both, but has a better seal on it. The seals don't corrode like with the salts. It's actually made for that environment, unlike the other one. So definitely be prudent of that when you order, because that's a big deal. If you're going to run an organic one in the salts, you will have seal failure eventually, so just keep that in mind. If you're not familiar with the product 100%, some guys might not be if they're from Europe, who knows, but I got you, brother. Just email me and I'll send you the code, send you everything you're going to need to take care of it. All right, man? That's dope. Sweet.
Hell yeah. All right. I want to do one for a pack of seeds there, Dave.
Do it. Is this everybody? Everybody in?
Yeah, this will be for anybody, even you, James.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
But afterwards, James, let me get your contact because I want to send you some gear. But
yeah.
All right, for this question here, in our cultivar, the Slurdy Mac, the cross from the Slurdy 3 is made up of what two strains? What two cultivars make up the Slurdy 3?
Bro,
and it's also from my favorite breeder, Purple City Genetics.
Hold on, I lost James.
We'll bring him back.
Cross. It was
hold on.
Genetics.
Say it again. Chill out, guys. Hold on. Say it again because we lost James for a second.
In our personal cultivar, Slurdy Mac, the Slurdy 3 is made up of what two crosses, and it's also from my favorite breeder, Purple City Genetics.
Dude, you know what's fucking crazy? I swear to God, you asked this question like 2 weeks ago.
No, that was our Frulato.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, isn't this the same question? Let's see who gets this one.
Eric said I'll sit out on the seeds. Yeah. There it is. Timothy Martin, Slurricane and Gelato 33. That is correct. Congratulations, Timothy.
Nice one.
You know what? Hold on a second. Timothy Martin.
Yeah, congrats, Timothy. I'll get your after this. I'll get your info and I'll get you a pack sent out.
Badass.
Let me grab something real quick here.
Score. So Purple City Genetics did which part of that?
The Slurdy 3. I fell in love with their Slurdy 3. Just that super pungent gas, burnt rubber. It's like you get a lot from those gelatos.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this Slurdy 3 is a fucking stanker. So I had to add that to the arsenal and cross with it, and
Hell yeah.
We crossed this 33 with the Mac Daddy, which was J Mobile's selection.
Okay.
And oh man, the phenos that have come out of that have been absolutely amazing. But
Dang.
yeah, besides myself, my favorite breeders is Purple City Genetics. They're doing some wonderful stuff out here.
Hell yeah. And did you use some in-house in there too then with that? Is that the slurricane in
Yeah,
there?
well, the Slurricane they used the Slurricane from In-House Genetics was used from Purple City Genetics with the Gelato 33.
Gotcha.
And then I guess technically the Mac Daddy, it's J Mobile selection, but it is an in-house strain
So
as
this is
well.
like a super frosty variety.
Oh, it's super stinky too. A lot of stuff that I breed is all super gas.
Hell yeah. Love me some gas.
Yeah. So we're gonna do another giveaway here. I have I had a couple of the extra bottles that you guys sent. There was a couple of doubles in there, so for giveaways and stuff. So I can't remember if it's this one or the other one. I just grabbed this one as a display model, but I think I have two of these ones. So I'm gonna do a top booster too.
Hell yeah.
Since we were talking about it before, and we're gonna let James do the question.
All right. Okay. Let's think. So, our base nutrient is something that you use from the beginning of veg all the way to the end of flower because it's missing one ingredient that is veg specific. I shouldn't say missing. It's low in one ingredient that veg specific, and we have off to the side. What is that one ingredient?
Come on, guys. We said it before.
Yes, sir.
Bob Carroll.
There you go, Bob Carroll.
Boom.
Bob Carroll. Racking it up tonight.
Hey, it pays to pay attention, guys.
Yes, sir.
You know what? It's important to retain information, especially if you're gonna monkey with a product line eventually. If it's something that's in your your plans, and I think it's always good to know about different things as far as different product lines, because sometimes you're using a line that you can bring items in from other lines, and House of Gods is definitely one of those. You guys, all the amendments or whatever you would consider them can be brought into any line almost, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So to me, it's important to find out as much information when you can about this stuff, I just makes sense, you know what I mean? Makes 100% sense. It's especially, like I said, if you haven't decided on a nutrient neither, these kind of lives are the stuff that you're going to get the information from, like you get it online and stuff like that, but to hear it from the guys who work for the companies and whatnot, you can't get that, as far as it, because sometimes I know a lot of people don't retain what they read, but they retain what they hear, you know what I mean? Or retain what they see, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's got a different way of learning. So to hear it and see it, is always the best kind of no,
I think this is the better way of learning, especially in this industry, is having powwows like this.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm definitely. I love having people on to do this, bro. A couple of years ago when I was like probably about a year and a half into doing the Facebook stuff, I did a lot of interviews with the companies, and I love doing them because at the end of it, I was, most of the stuff I used, and I would pick up on so many different cues off of shit, you know what I mean? Like I'm like sitting there, like looking at, I'm like, like at a certain point, I'm like, what can I do to start pumping this stink up, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, I heard this fucking over here, you know what I mean? And it's like sometimes it just dawns on you, at the dumbest times, but you're like, oh man, that's and this is the kind of stuff that causes those reactions in your brain. Like, I can't stand reading shit, bro. I hate looking on, reading online and stuff like that. Like I do it a lot, but I can't stand it because I just retain shit easier just hearing it.
So. And it's great to like reflect on some of this stuff too. I mean, things start to surface in plant science. Like I didn't understand why our base nutrient did so well for so long until just a few years ago, where they start talking about nitrogen and its ability to inhibit cannabinoid production. And we saw lines that were running nitrogen towards the end, only to decide, hey, we're going to change our feed chart to drop this product out and put in something to completely drain the amount of nitrogen that we're feeding towards the end. And with House and Garden, they drop the nitrogen from the get-go, so it's always been an additive to the side.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's really led to that rich terpene and cannabinoid content.
I try to tell guys constantly, like, dude, if you're running a product line where you see nitrogen, all the way through, I'm like, find the one that's got the fucking least amount of it, and that's the one that you continue on. If it's if it's viable, I'm like, the one that's got the most, get it the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? Right when you start, right when you get to that flip point, or we could, depending upon how, just see you later. Get that fucking thing out of there.
Honestly, I can't even tell that it lacks.
Yeah, bro.
Just running the base.
If there's almost enough nitrogen in any medium to fucking do, if you have with like your line, those small amounts at certain points when you need them, you know what I mean? Almost any of the fucking mediums has enough to piggyback, your growth anyway these days. Any medium you're done with, that's what's always in the fucking thing is nitrogen. You know what I mean? After it's depleted, and you think it's done, you go back and there's still this nitrogen in the goddamn stuff. It's like you just can't. There's just nitrogen's everywhere. It's like one of those things.
Well, in those final 3 to 4 weeks of flower, the average amount of nitrogen that's commonly agreed upon is in your NPK should be no more than a 1. So 1 dash whatever, So with our nutrient line, you're going to have a small amount of nitrogen in the base, which is going to allow that with the Bud XL, because the Bud XL has nitrates in it as well. But in combination, you're never exceeding that 1 value on the NPK ratio. So, if you start to have too much nitrogen, you can actually slow down your maturation. You can slow down that ripening process.
Yep. And that's why you hear people go, how come it's 8 weeks in veg and I don't have any pre-flower or stuff like that? The fucking plant's just not maturing properly. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because you're pumping the fucking thing full, It's
100%.
crazy. Like, plants, if you're 8 weeks into a veg and your plant's fucking, this big, and you're not seeing any kind of pre-flower, back your fucking back that nitrogen down, and you'll start seeing the plant turn that corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. But I have people hit me all the time with that, man. They're like, man, I'm not even, I want to flip, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, you don't even, like, the plant's not even mature 100% yet, dude. Like, you're not even, like, I don't flip my plants until I start seeing that. Like, that's just my mentality. Every time I flip and I don't have that full mature, it's not even worth the fucking run's not even worth it to me. You know what I mean? Like, and I've done it. Like, I've done it where I rush, and I'm just like, the bud's kicking, but it's just not up to my fucking quality standards. Like, to me, like, I always hold myself high because I know I can grow good fucking bud. And so when I see, I'm just fuck. Oh man, I hate it, bro. It just drives me nuts when I fucking have those stupid things happen, But
100%.
it's I don't want to hold you up fucking all night. I know that you're holding on for us for the interview, so I appreciate it, man. If I have one last thing,
I think we lost James.
If a new grower, oh shit, I lost him.
Yeah.
Sorry, James.
My bad.
That's all right. I just don't want to to close out to kind of close out. So I don't want to keep you all night. I appreciate your time and everything, but I also realize that you have a life. So if you had to a new grower, if you had to not to sell them on Houses and Gardens, but to what would you say to them in a nutshell that would make, or any grower, let's say, to take a chance with House and Gardens? Like, what would you say to what would be your strong points as far as like if
You know,
someone wasn't on the bubble, you know.
if quality is what you're looking for, then that's what you're going to find in House and Garden. You know, if you've got customers that necessarily aren't, you know, connoisseurs, maybe they'd be fine with a cheaper, shittier product. You know, so if you're going to grow for connoisseurs, I would say House and Garden is an excellent way to allow your potential to come through in those strains and for you to pump quality. So I would say, yeah, learn to be attentive to detail. Know what you're putting in. You are what you eat. If you cut costs, you often cut quality. So, you know, go ahead and give it your best foot forward and grow something that you're proud to share.
Yeah, you got to put this shit in your body at the end of the day, man. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you're igniting something, and a lot of stuff become volatile compounds and shit. These companies that are pumping out stuff that they have no fucking idea what's in it, you know, they're fly by night and stuff. Remember that at the end of the day, you got to smoke this shit and combust it. And a lot of chemicals, man, when they get a fucking lighter to them, become real gnarly shit. You know what I mean? So that's stuff that you got to keep in mind, man, when it comes down to it, bro. It's something that's been around since 1990 or something that's been around since 2023 with a catchy fucking campaign on Facebook only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know?
The reality of it is like anybody can grow dope, but not everybody can grow medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
Grow meds, not mids.
You can't put it any better,
it.
dude. You know what I mean? You cannot put it any better. So, well, I think we're going to close it out there, man. You know what I mean? Fucking.
Great. Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
I appreciate it, dude. Thank you for
spending. Hell yeah, appreciate you coming in, man.
You know?
Yeah, let's link up, Jay. And I'd like to send you some gear too, show you some love.
Hell yeah. I'm sure Dave can facilitate that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you in touch with our buddy Gary also, who's got the commercial joint, and get you guys connected up to try to see if we can put that in his garden this year. You know what I mean? I think.
Excellent.
I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I think this would be
Gary Lopez.
You know. Yeah. So, and everybody who wants something, just give me a day or two, and I'll be in touch. My boy from England, I'll shoot you an email tomorrow. Everybody else, if I don't have your information, just look back in the comments. My email's there. Email me if I don't know you personally from Facebook or something, and I got you. If you're just somebody from YouTube or IG that stopped by. And again, dude, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it. You know.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody else for tuning in.
Yeah, man. So, guys, everybody, thank you for tuning in, man. And we will be back. Hold on. When's our next one here? Give me 1 second.
I'm gonna be next show. I might partially be in the car because we're driving to Disneyland.
All right. June 6th, we have Lost Coast Plant Therapy on. So that's
Dirk. Yeah, I'll have to send him a text and remind him that he's on. But Lost Coast Plant Therapy.
Yeah, so we have to close it out. We have Lost Coast Plant Therapy coming on. Then we have Optic Foliar. Then either C&G Nutrients or Aficionado is actually going to be coming on with us too. And then probably either in June or August. I'm not sure yet. I was talking to him today, but yeah, he's down to come on. So we're going to be bringing in an absolute legend breeder. Which is fucking awesome. You know, I'm really stoked for that. I love their gear, bro. I've grown some of their stuff, and it's just, everything's legendary.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're gonna be doing the some Uncle Doobie's the sour diesel that he won all those comps with this year. We're gonna be running those soon in the garden, so I'm fucking pumped, man. That's some badass beans. And then after the 20th, which I'm not 100% sure if it's which one it's going to be, we have Goat Genetics. Then we're off for the 4th of July. Then we have Dungeons of Dank on July 12th. Then, as we have scheduled right now, we have July 25th, Kind's Magic Beans. August 1st, we're bringing back Tarantula since we had the issue, so he'll be back with us. And then, like I said, either in August or in June, we'll have Aficionado too, man, which I'm fucking stoked for, bro. I was so happy when he said yeah. That's
right.
So cool. Again, Everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week, man.
Also,
James?
one more thing, real quick. Since I am a ghost right now, I don't have Facebook or Instagram. I am permanently banned. Please, you guys, reach out. Come join the Discord server. Find us on X. That is the only place that I am right now, and it means the world if you guys can bring the community back to me, because I am a ghost of a shell right now.
Literally, dude. We find them here too. We're gonna be dropping videos here. Jay's got a sick video about pollination and stuff coming. I got a couple of dope videos coming, so we will definitely be here, also. So anybody needs Jay, you get in touch with me, and I got you also, So
Hell yeah. Appreciate you too, Dave.
James, thank you again, brother.
Thanks for having me.
It, man. And I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch either tomorrow or Monday or whatnot, with everybody's info, and I'll get it to you. All right.
Hell yeah, guys. Have fun in your garden.
Thank you, brother.
All right, James.
Later.
See you guys. I'm out.